I'm excited for the new James Bond game, but there is a reason for people to feel cautious about it. At least a little. Let me explain. A while ago the trailer for 007 First Light came out. It is a project spearheaded by the immensely talented Danish IO Interactive, who have famously created the Hitman franchise. Later we'll touch on James Bond related things, but let's start with why IO Interactive were trusted with the franchise in the first place. In 2012, the then long-awaited sequel to the blockbuster classic Hitman Blood Money, Hitman Absolution came out. Fans were hyped, almost like when Rage 1 came out. Real ones remember that game. Some people were not totally happy with Absolution though. Why? To many the game felt more streamlined and restrictive as the levels provided less of the sandbox style design the series was best known for. I for one never finished it. I bought it at launch and was gravely disappointed. That is anecdotal though. Others loved it and praised the technical genius the developers showed. The game was clearly lovingly created, it showed, but the gameplay was not the focus. It somehow felt like a tech demo for big things in the then distant future, at least for me. And don't worry, we'll get to Bond real soon. Let's look back on some comments on that game. Forbes called it an excellent game with standout crowd AI, though not perfect. The official Xbox magazine gave it an 85 out of 100, noting its James Bond style pacing and exotic locations. Eurogamer praised Absolution's mechanics, but did not approve of the direction of the game overall. 70 out of 100. Contrastingly, game critics rated it a 35 out of 100, criticizing poorly implemented mechanics that undermined the franchise's identity. How about the game's financial success? As of March 2013, the game's publisher Square Enix reported that Hitman Absolution had sold about 3.6 million copies at retail, but importantly had not met the publisher's sales expectations. So some good with the bad. It was not a terrible game, but it definitely was not the blockbuster hit it was projected to be. What is funny is of course the prophetic comparison to James Bond, but also the general division about the game's direction. After the launch of Absolution, the series had to wait for another 4 years until the next installment, just called Hitman. The episodic format the game used was unorthodox, but helped the developers push on with the rest of the content while still getting some returns on their investment. While the player base seemed to be unsure about this format, the game was undoubtedly a great return to form for the series. It is a bit unfair though, comparing a good game to an arguable masterpiece. That's at least my opinion. Some parallels could be drawn for the launch of the forthcoming heavily Hitman-inspired game 007 First Light. In fact, the developers have said to have gotten the rights just by replacing Hitman's head with Daniel Craig's. That is telling. Like Absolution had its loved predecessor in Blood Money, James Bond has it in the world of assassination. The comparison between the two is inevitable, if a little silly. Let's look over some details in the trailer and the materials. The game is likely to bring technologies and assets over from their latest title, so many elements remain the same. Still, seeing the trailer, some signs of absolutification or streamlining can be seen. The focus of the gameplay looks to be centered on infiltration. Thus far the team has elected not to show many creative choices the player can make, and this fact is worrying. It would behoove the studio to show people content the team is the most proud of, or that best showcases the game's core principles. So either A, they have not finished or polished that content, or B, it's simply not that kind of game. At least the action in the trailer is very eye-catching, but I don't believe this style of marketing makes any sense. The idea itself of a stealth James Bond game is sure to feel enticing to a neutral viewer. Action Bond games have always been there, it's nothing new. The strength of the brand holds weight without Michael Bay explosions. And let me say that I believe the design philosophy mashup of streamlined action and deep stealth can work. What seems to be left in question is how they will execute it. The shooty third-person kill gallery action scenes seemed over the top even for Bond, and limits the player agency. Bond will just have to kill 100 gunmen and blow up a plane. It could be detrimental to the game, were the devs to use these bombastic set pieces ad nauseum. James Bond movies are based upon this trifecta of charismatic dialogue, intriguing stealth, and spectacle. They have tried showing something from all of these parts, but I'm not convinced quite yet. The game has that generic Mass Effect style 4-option dialogue system, and I'm not sure if this will be just another pick the right answer simulator. I wonder if there will be enough meat around the bones to support the feature beyond it being just a small detail. If it is pulled off well, I can see it being a source of a lot of great moments and even crucial flavor that could on its own enhance the experience beyond Secret Agent pulp. This has a lot of potential, hopefully not lost potential. Secondly, the stealth seemed a bit basic. I mean, sure, it's just a trailer, but I'm not sold here, which is on its merit kind of worrying. Stealth is IO Interactive's bread and butter. Let us hope they bring more to the table than they let on. The trailer shows a very small scene about these mechanics, and although the gimmicks are nice, it doesn't provide enough to spur excitement. And yes, the AI seems to be blind. Completely blind. But yeah, it is what it is. This video is made with this hope and worry about the future of this game. I just about jumped giddily in my chair when I heard the news about this project. The gaming landscape of today, however, does not spark any hope. From crunching, grievous work culture and suffocating deadlines in many studios, one can only hope that IOI can rise above the competition to give the development the time it deserves. An overly tight release schedule could break any team, no matter how talented. They have done it before, and with their last game's success, there is a chance they are cooking with gas. This is a notoriously difficult IP to get right, but if anyone can pull it off, it might be IOI. I would hate to see the game become mediocre slop. Nothing hurts more than a meh product. And when it comes to this series, there is only one legendary James Bond game so far as I'm concerned. We will have to hope 007 First Light is more GoldenEye and less 007 Legends. Or, I mean, more GoldenEye of the 90s and less the GoldenEye of the 2000s. Hi, I hope you enjoyed this week's video, and I promise it'll be the last Hitman video in a while, okay? Because I'm done. I'm done with Hitman for a while, okay? Next week, I'm gonna make a video about something quite a lot darker than Hitman, but you'll see. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like and all that. Goodbye.